Good evening, everybody. Sorry for the delay once again. As soon as I hit the recorder button, everything freezes up. It doesn't do it during the day, just at night. So, all right. Okay. As we can see what happened in the Dow today, another indecisive day. But the overall chart is telling us we are in a J-hook pattern. And this very simple analysis, trend analysis, is if it stays above the T-line, this J-hook pattern is still in progress. Same scenario with the NASDAQ. Whoops. As long as it stays above the T-line. Now, it'll be important to stay above the T-line because what happens to our pattern if it closes back below the T-line? Well, we lose this J-hook pattern, and if it closes back down here, now we've got the more of a semblance of a channel, which probably would bring us back to the 50 because they never reached it here. So if they started pulling it back, you look for a trend channel along this lines. So any weakness from here, got to be a little bit more leery as far as going long and maybe adding some short positions to the portfolio. Not a whole lot out there as far as that's not what I want to do. Still long, I'd say long, closed out hogs only because they traded up today and then traded back below the open. Not telling us that there was any big reversal, but when they came back down through the open today, that pretty much told us some selling had started in, that this could possibly come back and test these moving averages in here. So it makes it very simple. We stopped out where it opened, which was a little bit of a profit today. And then if it opens positive tomorrow, we can always rebuy it. That would tell me the doji sandwich is in progress versus kind of a consolidating pullback. Live cattle just kind of hovering here. And some of the grains as far as, whoops, find out what's happening here. The soybeans, get a bullish engulfing signal. So you start watching this one. It was more, well, I'm just not hitting my butt with either hand here tonight. Let's see what's happening. This one, wheat, looks a lot better. Bullish engulfing signal, warning star signal, bullish engulfing signal. So this is where we're kind of working on our trend channel analysis. But if you can pretty much take a visual analysis and say, all right, there's a downtrend and the channel is probably pretty much parallel to it, more than likely this could be coming back up to test the 200. So that'd be your next target. Nothing more than that based on we can see a trend channel in progress. And what else we got here? Oh, the dollar continues its uptrend. Which means the euro, which we're short, continues its downtrend. So as long as we don't see a buy signal and a close above the T line, we stay short. Gold, well. Gold looks like it's in a bearish J-hook pattern. If you're shorting gold, put a sell stop right here, yesterday's low. If it comes down through there, it's telling us this support level is not acting as support anymore. And we went long on Friday in coffee. It's pulled back, but notice where it pulled back once it hit the 50, right smack dab to the T-line. We'll be adding positions if it opens positive tomorrow and starts trading positive, because that pretty much tells us we're in the bobble, and now expect the bobble to come back up through the 50. I guess that's it. We did gold, dollar, crude oil. Crude oil out of the, I guess it'd be the Januaries. Showed some indecisiveness down here. Kind of showing a lot of dojis in here. So as soon as you see it close up above the T-line, expect to at least come back up into this area, which is this downtrending channel plus the 50-day moving average territory. Okay, there's still lots of good charts out there. We're still long A or PACB because of the fry pan bottom, even though it backed off a little bit today. Nothing to tell us there's any severe reversal. That's not a reversal signal or a sell signal. Just kind of a down day and an uptrend. And Hawaiian Air, same scenario. However, if this one comes back to test the T-line and doesn't do much from there, we'll close it out, because that pretty much tells us that our J-hook pattern scenario has disappeared, but now we're back into a sideways mode. Then your buy stop would be back up at the $38 area on the basis that if it came up through there, you do have the pattern work again. Now, Copa, that's did a little doji sandwich today as it kind of broke out through this level. That one can be bought with the anticipation that now that they've supported in the 50 area, that now we could be heading for the 200. And SRPT is one that we're hanging on to. There's your fry pan bottom. That was an iffy day. So to stay in the trajectory, it needed to open positive and trade positive, which it did with great enthusiasm, which tells us now we've broken out. Look for at least a 45 degree off of this one. And we'll hang on to this one as long as it doesn't close back below the T-line. But at this point, with it getting up toward the overbought area, the logical spot to have your stop is at today's open. It shouldn't come back down through there. And ZFGN, another one that's just riding this T-line. You just stay long until you see a sell signal. Anticipation, though, is we're now getting back into the gap area. That makes this our next likely target, which puts us close enough to the T-line. I'm sorry, close enough to the 50 to make that a viable target. So right now, with the market moving up slow and steady, you can easily try to find which sectors are doing well. And we can see the drugs and the biotechs are all picking up steam, good chart patterns. So even if you went to the BIB, you can see that it's in an uptrend, staying above the T-line. If it breaks out through here, there's a good possibility they're taking it back up to the 200. But the more important factor is that if this is still in just a nice, slow, steady uptrend, that means individual stocks that are performing well, here's ATRA coming out of the bobble, they've got all good possibility of popping up to the next resistance levels because the whole industry is picking up a little bit of steam. And it doesn't matter whether it's a lot of steam or just a little bit of steam, because we've still got the capability to find the chart patterns of the good ones in that sector that are moving up. They're probably going to move faster than the trend itself, or just the slow uptrend of the sector. So here's HZNP with a bobble. Now that it broke out through the 50, again, the 200 becomes your likely target. And I see that Bzun, which had their earnings announcement apparently this afternoon, was trading up in this range. So that still tells me there's a J-hook pattern in progress on this one. You stay long. We recommended XLRN today because of this classic, the fry pan bottom J-hook pattern. So this is why you want to know what the characteristic of each individual signal is telling you. For example, notice all the dojis right here on the T-line. What's that represent? But there's lots of indecision right here, so it's not a very let's say compelling pullback. And then when we start seeing it come back up, especially with a trend kicker, that tells us this wave has a good potential of being the same magnitude as this wave right here. That's also seen in some more here, but this one is more of a fry pan bottom. TRVN, you can see the big fry pan bottom in progress. Now, where do most fry pan bottoms break out? Usually when your stochastics are already up in the overbought condition. I say when you buy naked calls, not so much naked calls, you're just buying the calls, which aren't naked. You were selling the calls. Now that would be naked because you don't have, you've got unlimited exposure. So no, Mario, I don't. Yeah, that question went way over my head. And from what it sounds like, I'm buying the December calls right now, obviously, because the Novembers are gone. And right now, so remember, when you're buying a call, it's just a method of buying the underlying stock. TTPH, this one popped up and pulled back. It has to open positive. If it opens lower tomorrow, it's lost its steam. We're going sideways. You want to close it out and move on to something else. And KPTI, that's kind of a nice slow curve pattern. You stay long on this one. CYTR, these are all biotechs and drug companies. That's apparently not the right symbol. It isn't. CYTK, doing a J-hook pattern. This one, I wouldn't be afraid to be buying. Now, there's that little slow curve breakout. These type of setups here is what has made me probably the biggest percent returns on my portfolio over the last few years. Just seeing this slow build-up of energy, and then bam, they take it out pretty strong. Let's see, CHRS. So when you start seeing a lot of stocks in the same industry or the same sector performing the same way or giving you strong charts, you can pretty well assume that there's big money across the board buying that sector across the board. Now, does that mean every biotech stock is going to go up? Definitely not. But the probabilities of seeing the biotech industry or sector ETF trading positive means there's lots of money coming into that sector as the accumulative result of all the stocks that are in that sector. So with the capabilities of candlesticks, we can see which ones have the stronger capabilities. If all boats rise in a rising tide, we're looking for the boats that are going to rise a lot faster than the rest of them. So here's kind of a scoop J-hook on CHRS. I wouldn't be afraid to be buying this one on positive trading tomorrow, breaking out through this level. making this trajectory somewhere up into the $36, $37 area the likely target. ARAY, another one that can be bought on the J-hook pattern if it comes out through the 200 tomorrow. And before I get too far, whoops, that's not what I want to do. For anybody that hasn't gotten the Who is Santa book, we still have a stack here that I'm sending out to people. If you're interested in reading the book and if you like it, put a comment on Amazon. Just email me, steve@candlestickforum.com with your address, and I'll be glad to sign and send you a book. I realized that my marketing wasn't working very well, that I need to get as many books out. I've got a couple thousand books in the garage. No, I wrote the book. It's called Who is Santa and How Did He Get to the North Pole? It's for kids 12 and under, obviously. But I get a lot of feedback from adults saying it's a fun book just because it brings them back to their childhood. AXGN. That doesn't look like what I wanted. Who writes these things? AXON. Nothing to do with trading. This is just after writing 3 investment books. When it comes to Christmas time, I think the best stories out there was Charles Dickens' Christmas Carol and It's a Wonderful Life. And every time I watch those, I think, who the heck wrote those? How did they come up with these ideas? So I sat there one night and thought, and then I also get, we're getting way off track here, get bothered by the fact that there's great Christmas movies out there, but there's really no new ones. I kept thinking, well, somebody needs to come up with a new story about Santa Claus or Christmas. And I thought, well, why don't you? So it's 142 pages. It's each chapter can be read to a little kid as an individual story, but it's kind of a running story about how Santa became Santa and how he got to the North Pole. Oh, Jamie, no, no, I'm having a really hard time getting rid of the ones in English. And it's got over 40 full-page color illustrations. AXON, another J-hook pattern. And 5N, another one you can be buying on the J-hook pattern. Yes, it's on Amazon. So I think if you go to Amazon and just type in BIGALOW and then Who is Santa, that will take you to the book. And there are about 40 or 50 comments on it. I just need to get more. I guess that's the way you have to market books anymore. PAH, another one that if it opens positive tomorrow, it's got a lot of running room. Meaning they can break through the 50. They could get all the way up to the 200-day moving average. Yes, we did record it, Vince. How do you get a signed book? Is you email Steve at Candlestick Forum And just give me your address and it'll be signed and sent out tomorrow. But that's with the caveat that if you like it, put a good comment on Amazon for me, and if you don't like it, don't say anything at all. Macy's. Macy's is not a very wild, exciting one, but it could have a 20% move back up to the 50 if it opens positive tomorrow. And CANF, one that we'd followed in the past, did the message today, which means if they start showing buying with the doji gap up, you want to start buying it because that's what the message was. Whenever you see that gap up and then you see the selling has stopped, that message right there tells you there's going to be more upside. And SSTK, another J-hook pattern in progress with the potential again of moving up toward the 200-day moving average. So the reason we like to buy the patterns is because there's expected results. You can see on Nike, we're probably going to be in a 45-degree slingshot effect to the upside. Would you buy Macy's? No. You want to see it close above the T-line. I would rather pay $41 or $40.70 knowing that it closed above the T-line, telling me that that's not acting as a resistance. My next resistance is probably right up in this area, and then target is a 50-day moving average. Yes, that's a good, and that's got a good message to it. There's your handle. There's your scoop. There's your slingshot effect. And how is that slingshot effect starting? You had your buy signals down here. You had your doji. Then you've had a gap up telling you there's probably going to be more upside. No, we aren't in a rally, I wouldn't think. I think we're just in a very slow, mild rally. Here's NCI, which also has that little scoop type pattern. If you look at the bigger chart, whoops, you can see this has been an uptrend. You had that slow curve, fry pan bottom breakout. Now you're having your scoop, and notice the observe the obvious. Look what it does once it hits the 50. They bounce it back up. So if they start trading this one positive, there's a good possibility they could have another slingshot effect of another 3 points to the upside. Yes, Nike's a good one to trade options. I would probably do a December, but I'd probably do a slightly in the money, all knowing that it's just going to be a steady uptrend. I am right now in the process of one of the other videos we're doing is the trend channels. You can pretty much draw a trend channel up through here, and notice where this one is bouncing. Right off the 50. Look at the left-right combo over here. Look at your best friend over here. Where do you think your next target will be? Oops, that's not it. Right up here somewhere. Oh, pshaw. Oh, pshaw. So that's got a decent percentage move. So that becomes a very high probability option play also. That was NCI. Let's see, TTS is another trend channel. And look what it's done. Let me see if I can do this. Right from about here. You can see that it just got to the top of the trend channel. So this is where are your targets? You watch to see what's happening, what everybody else is watching. This has been a good move back up to the top of the trend channel. Now you start watching for profit taking. So if I owned this one, notice how it did a bullish engulfing left-right combo, broke out with another kind of left-right or doji sandwich. What do you say? Bullish engulfing. doji sandwich breakout. Now we're back up here to the top of the channel. I'd want to see it trade on the 45 degree. I'd put a sell stop right down here. If it opened lower, I'd close out the position, and then you can always buy it if it comes back up through that level. It tells me the uptrend is still in progress. Let's see. This is why you want to recognize each of the patterns. There's your big move. There's your 45 degree. That's GHDX. It's not Amber. Notice this one. ANFI. Is it Armia Natural Foods? 45 degree. And that's why we're holding on to WTW. Big move, 45 degree. And what's the criteria for staying long? Stay long as you don't see it close back below the T line. All right, some that you might want to put in the portfolio as kind of a hedge. There's your bearish J-hook pattern showing up in Twitter. This one I'd be ready to go short on weakness tomorrow, because if it comes down through here, now we're have the potential of a wave 3 to the downside, which probably would coincide with it hitting a low down here in the $21 range. XON, observe the obvious. Every time it comes up to a resistance level, they sell it off. Resistance level, they sell it off. If this one opened lower tomorrow, what type of signal would we have? Anybody? Just want to make sure you're all awake out there. Bearish doji sandwich, exactly. So if we have a bearish doji sandwich, what can we evaluate about this little support level? We've got a shooting star, a bearish engulfing signal, and a bearish doji sandwich, which could take you down here, telling you this level is not holding anymore, that we're in our next downtrend, making either this level or this level our next likely target. But it would give us a high probability that we were still in a downtrend, because what do we expect after a doji sandwich? More move in that direction. A McMuffin top. McMuffin top. A bearish McMuffin. Oh, okay. Same scenario on this one, a left-right combo. If it opens lower tomorrow, after a left-right hit a left-right bearish combo. Now if it opens lower, what do we have? Bearish doji sandwich. And what's our trend telling us? We're probably heading down here into this area, which is now getting us pretty close to our 200-day moving average. Nugget, because of gold prices, whoops, let's make this bigger. Let's get rid of that. This opens lower. Another bearish doji sandwich, which breaks this area, which tells us wave 1, wave 2, wave 3 could be down into the $10 range. When kind of a double top, then your bearish best friend, your doji gap down. And right now, all you can do is stay short until you see a buy signal. Where's your next likely target? There's the gap right here coming back down to test the lows. WDC, another one that I wouldn't be afraid to go short again on weakness tomorrow. Another bearish doji sandwich in progress. So far on this one, anytime it comes up to the resistance level, they keep selling it back off. That tells you that there's not very much enthusiasm on the buy side in this one, and won't be until you see that big reversal signal. Micron, same scenario. You've hit this downtrending channel. You've got a bearish left-right combo. Another one that you can be shorting on weakness tomorrow. And FFIV, bearish J-hook pattern. This is where you kind of notice what the T-line is doing for you. Make this big enough this way. Look where they brought it up to today, right to the T-line, and then sold it back off again. That pretty much told us that natural resistance level was still acting as resistance. And depot, the 50, an obvious resistance level, still acting as resistance. Wouldn't be afraid to be shorting this one on weakness tomorrow, with at least your first support level right down in this area, giving you a good almost 20% to the downside. SPLK is an example of the bigger the signal, the more compelling there's been a reversal. And this is where, when you see a gap up and they start taking it positive, put your stop at where it opens. If it comes back down through there, especially with your stochastics up close to the overbought area, if it comes back down through, that pretty much tells you that was the exhaustion at the top. Start taking your profits. The worst case scenario is they could turn around and come back up. You could always buy it back right there where it opened. And GLNG, you can see the kind of the dumpling top. You can see how you've got a wedge formation. If this opens weaker, potential of this type of move to the downside. So not to say that this is a time to start selling, but right now with the market not really telling us whether they want to break out or whether they want to start going sideways, doesn't hurt to have a few short positions in a portfolio, even if the market is moving up. All right, so with that, if there's any general questions on candlesticks, when you see a drop like the one in ADI, how do you know there will be more? Because what's the investor sentiment telling us? If they came back up, hit the resistance levels, bearish harami. There's your, that told you the buying had stopped, and now you're back below the T line. I would suspect you're going to keep riding down on this bearish trend. A dumpling top, Steve, is a best place I could show you is in the Dow. If I can make this. You'd see that you had this big rounding top, and a dumpling top is the opposite of a fry pan bottom. And then when it broke down, what do we expect coming out of a dumpling top? That big down move. What do we expect coming out of a fry pan bottom? That big up move. So a dumpling top is where you just see a rounding top that you couldn't trade if you wanted to because it was so choppy. Just look for that investor sentiment to really start breaking down. No. Right now, I probably wouldn't pay attention to Guild because you're in this downtrending channel. There's no direction to it. So I'd be someplace else. There's going to be times when a chart looks great. There's going to be other times when a chart looks lousy. When they look lousy, remember, there's 10,000 situations out there that you can invest in. If you've got one, now this looked like it was going to do a scoop pattern, which meant if it had broken out through this level, we probably had a good strong slingshot effect. The fact that they've still in this trend channel tells me there's really no direction to it until you see the next buy signal. Would I stay in KBOI at this point? Is that what it did today? Mercy sakes. Am I still on the right chart? Was it up that much today? After coming from 44 cents, it's trading at 40. Golly. Well, this is where I would definitely, at this point, you know, you're that good fur piece away from your T-line. This is the 5-minute chart. And the 10-minute chart, it's not showing any weakness. So at this point, yes. Oh, yeah, if you've got that type of profits. And I can remember somebody asked the other day, what do you do with this after the big belt hold? Let's see if I can make it even big enough where we can see it anymore. It was right in here. It was very simple. You were in the bobble, so you stay long if it's traded positive. If it traded short or traded lower and came back down through the T-line, told you that they were failing at the 50, close it out. So I hope people had it. I just love to have one of those. I've had a few of those in my lifetime, but they're few and far between. Yeah, I think, didn't they? I can't even see what the charts look like at this point. I'm guessing there's just such a huge short squeeze going on. Anyways, if I owned it, yes, but I'd be playing off the 10-minute chart. And I guess if I did own it and I had $2,000 in it and now it's worth $80,000, I would probably be taking half of it off and be happier than a pig in doo-doo that I could put 40 grand in my pocket and then see what the rest of it does. Okay. A scoop pattern has a flat handle to it. See how this has there's no direction, lots of indecisive trading. People get bored, they start selling it off. And then you get the buy signal down here and you get a slingshot effect to the upside. So there's the flat handle, there's the scoop, there's the slingshot effect. Whereas a J-hook pattern usually has the prerequisite of a very strong price move. And that usually, that could be the combination of coming out of a fry pan bottom with a strong price move, a pullback, and then the next wave, same magnitude as wave one. So the difference is a J-hook pattern is a strong move that had a lot of investor sentiment in it, or bullish sentiment, profit taking, and then that bullish sentiment continues. Whereas a scoop has no investor sentiment one way or the other. People get tired of it, and then they slingshot it to the upside. What do you do if on a daily the chart looks great, but the 10 and 5-minute chart doesn't look so good? Oh, if the 5 and 10-minute chart starts looking soggy near the end of the day, that to me isn't a bad looking chart. Because notice when they started selling it off, it was just a drift. Now, if they had started selling it off like this, and after coming up like this and started selling off, yes, I'd probably come out of it and wait for it to come up above the T-line. But if they're just each 10-minute sector, they're just drifting a little bit lower. I know by the end of the day that my overall candle is going to be relatively bullish green. If they had sold it off hard and created a shooting star, that'd be more of a concern, because now I have a shooting star right at the same level that it had resisted before or topped out before. That's giving me a message. This is just fading off from the high, that's not really giving me a message. The message is there's no reversal signal. There's still good strength in that price move. When you say left-right combo, will you show the way it is formed? Yeah, let me find a left-right combo. Left-right combo is merely a doji followed by a bullish engulfing signal. I'm trying to remember which one had the left-right combo. GNP. I'll find one before. Is this a bearish? Whoops. Yeah, that's kind of a bearish left-right combo. And you had kind of a shooting star doji followed by a bearish engulfing signal. Nothing of a great left-right on this one. Usually it's a doji followed by a bullish engulfing. Yeah, there's a bearish left-right combo. Doji, bearish engulfing signal. Seems that most of the buying and selling happens within the first hour or two of the day and then late in the day. Is that generally true, or is that probably just the stocks that I'm watching? No, John, that's pretty much what happens is usually the first hour or so, everybody that had made decisions from the night before are executing their positions. And then after that, it starts slowing down a little bit because everybody's taking their positions. And then as we get near the end of the day, people are deciding whether they're going to stay in or not. So most of the action is usually in that first hour and the last half hour of a day. And so a lot of people say, well, shoot, I don't want to buy during the first hour because they say amateurs buy in the first hour, the pros during the rest of the day. And the answer to that is we don't give a hoot who's buying in the first hour. If the price, we're buying price, we're not buying who's buying or selling. So left-right combo, left of screen. Yes, over here, this is a bullish left-right combo right here. Okay, I guess with that, Jim, go ahead and do the double line. And in 3.8 seconds, do the second double line. BOFI has kind of a Morningstar signal. You can be buying this one on Positive Trading. Expect the 200-day moving average to be the target. And CPF, another one that you can be buying. It's not a very exciting mover, but it's in a steady uptrend. Dynex, same scenario. If I was going to be buying this one based upon what the trend channel is right here, I would rather pay $685 for it, knowing that it broke out through this level. Otherwise, you don't really have any dynamic energy in this one. Deere, still having a problem getting out of its own way. Another one that's just kind of sideways. I would be someplace else right now on this one. Now, again, that doesn't mean that 2 weeks from now that it doesn't turn into any of these that are moving sideways, doesn't turn into a dynamic mover, but that's going to be identified by the type of signal that you see that gets that move going. MMYT, another one that doesn't have anything to get excited about. It's probably in a very slow fry pan bottom. I'd be trading something else. And BTU was in a downtrend. It's still in a downtrend. Notice they gapped it up today and brought it back down. So what's the conclusion? They can't close it above the T-line. You stay short. So if this one opened lower tomorrow, we're short some of this one right now. We'll stay short as long as they can't close it above the T-line. Chipotle, Whoops. Just stay short. Nothing here. Facebook. Facebook is another one that's kind of in a wedge formation. That if you're long, it has to open positive tomorrow. If it opens lower, you close it out because there's no direction to it anymore. Oh, was that Amber or Amba? Amba would be more apt to get ready to go short. Wouldn't be long right now because they never could get it to move up after they closed it above the T line. It needed to open positive and trade positive. Right now, I wouldn't be long or short Amba, if that's the one you were looking for. Is there an Amber? There's an Amber. Whoops, my fault. Notice your inverted hammer, slow curve. You can stay long on this one. Just make sure your volume is safe on this one. Siggy is in the trend channel. You can see that the 50 has been acting as support. We did this one where you had the left-right combo over here. That was a doji followed by a bullish engulfing, and notice where it occurred. Right smack dab on the 50. Then you had your doji gap up. Now if it opens positive tomorrow, you've got a doji sandwich, which more than likely would take you right up to the 20. So even getting in tomorrow, at least it'd be a safe trade, knowing that it was probably going to trade positive. BlackBerry just has never been a very exciting stock. It's just in a big sideways mode. Home Depot, you can stay long on this one. Notice how when they gapped it up off the 50, the trajectory kind of changed. So you might just stay long on Home Depot and never trade it because it's too slow a mover. But right now it seems to have picked up some activity. And Netflix, all you can do on this one is stay long. Ever since the big bullish engulfing signal and the breakout of this wedge formation, at this point, I would use today's low as my stop. It shouldn't come back down below that level. HZNP we recommended today because it was coming out of the bobble, making your next target the 200-day moving average. Starbucks, not a prolific trader either, but it's in a steady uptrend. If you like it, you just stay long as it stays above the T line. Ford needed to get back up above the, or stay up above the 50. This one I'd be ready to buy on positive trading tomorrow because that would give you your double doji setup. And Monsanto, another one that has to open positive. If it opens lower tomorrow, it's coming back to the 20, but then you can see what the trajectory of this uptrend is. It's not going to be very strong. And Halo, this one you can buy on positive trading tomorrow. Doing the J-hook pattern, breaking out through the 200. That's a good setup. UEPS, nothing to get excited about here. As you can see, you're in this downtrending channel. The 50 is acting as resistance. So I wouldn't, there's nothing yet to tell me I'd want to be a buyer. That's not going to do anything more than stay in this downtrending channel at best. Las Vegas Sands, be ready to short this one. Same scenario with Wynn, even though it traded up a little bit today. Traded back below the halfway point of today's trading. WWW, this one is now right at that breakout point. You can buy this one on positive trading. If it breaks this little downtrending channel, then just watch to see what it does once it gets to the 50. And Apple, still stuck in this sideways trend. At this point, I'd be less apt to be trading Apple right now. If you're long, it has to open positive. Otherwise, your evening star signal is taking you down to the 50, which means still don't want to be long or short this one. AMG, you can short this one. Yes, it had a left-right combo. You can see where it failed at the 20. If it opened lower, you kind of have your bearish J-hook pattern. And American Express, same scenario. You're in a downtrend. If it opens lower, look for it to come down to the bottom of the trend channel, down into this area. Texas Instruments has to open positive. If it opens lower tomorrow, you close it out because there's no direction to this one. It had the potential of a scoop pattern, but if it trades back below the T-line, that scoop pattern now has disappeared. And the oil funds, oil just keeps hovering down toward the $40 range. I wouldn't be trading oil just yet. I probably wouldn't be shorting it anymore here, but I wouldn't be buying it until you see a strong reversal. Coke, bottling, you can be buying this one. It's got the potential of moving up, back up to the handle, making a little scoop pattern. But if I was going to buy it, I'd want to see it come back up through today's high, telling me the 50-day moving average is not acting as resistance anymore. And FIX, you can stay long on this one. Not a big mover, but at least moving in the right direction. And Fizz, this one I'd be more apt to buy because of the J-hook type pattern setup. First Solar has a nice chart to it, but it has to open positive also. If it opened lower tomorrow, tells us the J-hook pattern is not as prolific as we would like it to be. This one has to open positive to stay of interest. The Japanese yen trust, not moving anywhere. Right now, I probably wouldn't be trading the yen. BABA has a nice J-hook pattern setting up. This one you can buy on positive trading tomorrow, anticipating coming up to test the recent high. And Skyworks, you stay short on this one, if you stay at all. As you can see, there's really not a real massive price movement on this one. TTP also has to open positive tomorrow to stay in it. Let's see, what do I want to do here? It has to open positive. If it opens lower, there's no direction on this one. Valero, nice J-hook pattern. Oh, I forgot what I was supposed to be demonstrating. TSO, J-hook, you can buy this one on positive trading tomorrow using the T-line as your stop. Dominion, stay short on this one. That's a good bearish J-hook pattern. Notice when it hit the 20, you did your doji gap down. That's a good short. I'm going to make this smaller just to see what the downside is. Getting toward the, I still wouldn't be afraid to go short on this one. Cons, just a nice slow steady uptrend. Not anything real wild or prolific, but you can stay long on this one. MNK, another one that if it opens positive tomorrow, you've got kind of a scoop pattern with a slingshot effect that could take you up pretty strong. That one I would definitely be looking at as a positive trader tomorrow, especially on an option situation. If that gets a slingshot effect to the upside, that could take you from 66 to 90 very quickly. And VRX, just stay long. Use the T-line as your stop. Tesla. Tesla, right now you can see a wedge starting to form, so I wouldn't be long or short Tesla right now. GGAL had a nice, did have a nice one. Now you get ready to go short on this one if they open this one lower. Remember, the bigger the signal, the more compelling there's been a dramatic change of investor sentiment. Facebook, sideways. At this point, I would rather pay 111 for it, knowing that it broke out to the upside. SVXY, you can get ready to buy this one. You can see the little scoop pattern in progress. So I'd be ready to buy this one. Celica, two sideways right now. It had some opportunity before, but right now it's not showing us anything great. Here's one I'd rather pay a $21.77 for, knowing that it broke out to the upside. Citigroup, same scenario. If it opens lower tomorrow, your J-hook pattern has disappeared. Your downtrending channel back to the 50 now becomes more prominent. Good next, Potash. Potash, get ready to short this one. The slow curve, there is your left-right combo. Doji, bearish engulfing right at the 20. I'd be ready to short this one. Is the world's most profitable producer at a 20-year low. Gets paid 7.6 while waiting for uptrend. The only problem with that scenario, Allison, is you can have the best company in the world, and if nobody's buying it, it won't do you any good. So at this point, I would be ready to short it. If you really like it, then you just get ready to buy it on the next buy signal. Whiting, same scenario, kind of a wedge formation. We've been waiting for this to get back up above the 50 with a strong signal to buy it. Nothing's happened yet. And blue's starting, but you can see where the resistance level is right through here, which is just above the 50-day moving average. But you do have that little Morningstar signal bouncing up off the T-line. That makes it something to definitely watch, to be buying, and then just watch to see what it does at the 50. Price line, bearish J-hook, bounced off the 200, came right up to the T-line and failed. Now you have to see whether they're going to hold the 200 again on the second go-around. ZINC, nothing. Even when they gapped it up today, they brought it right back down. I wouldn't be in this one at all. ATVI, all you can do with this one is hold it as long as it stays above the T-line. Nothing showing you any selling. NVDA, left-right combo, and where did it occur? Right smack at the same level they started selling over here with the bearish Harami. Makes this very simple. If they open this lower, your double top is probably in effect. Close it out, they're probably coming back to test the 50 area. WD, stay long. Zixi, you can stay long on this one as long as it stays above the T-line. NOAA, with the big bullish Harami down here. Whoops, pointing at it with my finger. Here, you stay long as it stays above the T-line. Ultra, you know it's supporting on the 50. It's not going to be a real fast mover, but you can pretty much calculate where the next move is, up here to the top of the trend channel. And Boeing is starting to back off, kind of an evening star type signal right where it topped out before. This one has to stay above the T line also. If it closes below the T line, you're sideways. The SPY, staying above the T line. AVGO, not yet. You've got too much junk in here. There's no trend to it. I wouldn't be long or short this one. Just nothing there. See, we did Facebook. Facebook, yeah, just sideways right now. With a doji at the end of the flat trading, makes it very simple. They're going to move it in the direction of how they open this one tomorrow. eBay has to open positive. If it opens lower, your J-hook pattern disappears and your downward trend channel will be in progress. Amazon, just stay long as it stays above the T line. And CTAS, you can stay long on this one. You've had the doji sandwich up through the T line, broke through this level. I'd stay long. You can pretty much see what your trend channel is right here, but so the percent move isn't going to be all that dramatic, but it isn't enough trend. And Dover, another one where you has to stay above the T line to stay in it. GRMN, got a scoop pattern going. Same scenario. It can't close back below the T line. If it does, now your downtrending channel will be in progress. Yeah, we were discussing how whoever had shorted it, the next day, what were they down? Like $140,000. And he was asking everybody to send him money to help. Our discussion was, I bet you dime to donuts that if he was long, he wouldn't be sending money out to other people. Let's see, did we do USO? Yeah, oil's still in a downtrend. Is this Philip Morris? You can stay long on Philip Morris. Not a great, say, great active mover, but you're back in an uptrend. So there's your trend channel, and you can see they brought it back to the 50 before bouncing it back up. So that's a pretty good indication that there's some added strength coming into this one. Adobe, all you can do is stay long on this. EEM, it probably wouldn't be long or short this one. There's just no real direction to it. And CERN, this one you can be buying. You can see how it bounced off the lower trend channel. I would suspect at least to come up here and test the 50. If they go through the 50, they're going to fill the gap. And then if they fill the gap, more than likely they're going to the 200. I think, yeah, the Triple T is available. Jim, if you want to put it in here, since everybody's a member, they can have it. AKRX, just stay long. We did those. Oh, link was posted at 5:50 in this room. All right. MCUR, this was a perfect example that when you had that big price move, when it got up here to the 200, or I'm sorry, the 50, that's when you start watching to see when your sell signal. Why would we be coming out on the 10-minute chart? Because look how far away we are from our T line up here. More than likely, you're going to see some selling. Now, if they open this positive tomorrow, that tells you the profit taking is over. At that point, you can start buying again. Flowers. You can get ready to buy this one. If it opens, pop takeout. Goldman. Goldman's still in a downtrend. That's not good for the market. When the big brokerages are heading down, that means the market's getting soggy. So this one has the potential of now coming back to test the 50. And GMCR, just not anything prolific on this one. You're in a downtrending mode. Nothing yet to tell you there's any major buying going on this one. All right, Mario. Is there any information on the 3-day EMS? The 3-day EMS. That's the Mark. I hate to show my ignorance, but I don't even know what a 3-day EMS is. JD broke out through the 200. Just watch. It's right now on that resistance level, but you kind of have a little J-hook pattern. At this point, I would stay long with the expectation they're going to come up here and fill this gap, and then just see what it does once it gets there. Morn, that one you can be buying. You're at the double bottom right here at the 200. I'd look for it to come back up here to the $64 range or the $84 range. Not a big percent move, but at least you know which way it's moving. Nuance. Oops. Let's see. Sold after the big move last week. Where would you put the buy stop? On a positive open tomorrow, because you have a left-right combo pretty much telling you that they have stopped their selling. You could draw a line right up through here. I think I can draw a line right up through there. Here. Oops. So if it broke out above this tomorrow, you still have a potential of another big pop to the upside. FedEx. FedEx, not anything wildly exciting, but you can see you've got a T-line crunch heading up to the 200. You just stay long. Always like the story of the FedEx story where, what's his name, wrote up the concept for FedEx, and his business professor flunked him because he said it would never work. I don't know whether he flunked him, but he gave him a bad grade. Which makes it kind of a conundrum that you have professors that probably have never been in business before evaluating business concepts. UPS, nothing that I'd get real excited about here. There's just no major trend to this one. CTRX, all I can tell you is as long as it stays above the T line, you're still in the 45 degree. TSNU. Oh, that's not working. Always reminds me of my fraternity buddy that was a few years ahead of me. Wrote a paper for English class and got an A on it, so the professor had him read it in class, but the professor had a question mark on the very last line, which said, and that is SNU, SNU. And so when he got done reading it, the professor said, well, what's SNU? My buddy said, not too much. What's SNU with you? And I guess he dropped a couple of grades on the paper. FRN, kind of your scoop J-hook. You stay long on this one, especially if they open this one positive tomorrow. Yes, Jam, there is a way to identify the next KIOB. And that is when you see something big start happening and the volume picking way up, that's when you start watching to see what's happening. That's why we were playing MCRU. Because it had a big percent move, and you could see the pattern. So I'd still be playing this one on positive trading tomorrow. And what was the other one? Oh, oops, it's coming to me. It's coming to me. CANF. CANF had a gap up today. After this big, slow, steady downtrend, they gapped it up. This is where you watch to see when the profit taking is over. This could have a good percentage move to the upside. Yes. Yeah, that's one thing I couldn't understand about the guy that shorted KBIO. Number one, I've missed something. It's awfully hard to find a brokerage firm that would let you short a stock that's trading this down this low without having a huge amount of margin to cover it. So anyways, something's not right with that story. Yeah, Nally is still paying a very good dividend yield. So you still, right now, Nally doesn't have a great, oh, that's not what I wanted to do. Doesn't have a real good chart to it, but it's basing in here. So if it started back up above the T line, you could buy it, but it'd be more for a hold than a trade, because you could hold it even if you bought it here and held it for a year and it came back up into this range, came up 10%, and you had a 12.5% dividend yield. 22% return overall was not bad. Yeah, even if he shorted it at $2, I can't imagine a brokerage firm would have said, number one, let's go back to this one. Here's what's the flaw in this story. Can somebody see what the volume was over here during these trading ranges or these trading days? I could probably do that. So this is why you always have to on this day right here at 70 cents, they traded 126,000 shares. So that's approximately $100 or that's not right. $100,000 worth of stock. Is that right? Yeah, right close to one. Over here, they traded 17,000 shares, 44,000 shares. I just find it very unusual that a brokerage firm would let somebody short a stock that trades that little bit of volume. Number one, not that they would let them short it, but remember, when you short a stock, you're going to have that brokerage firm has to have it in inventory somewhere, And it's very doubtful that somebody would have enough inventory at 70 cents or even $2 to let somebody come in and short $37,000 worth. Something's very wrong with that story. Thomas, if you go to our on our website up at the top, there's products and services. If you click on that, you'll see we've got, I think, 40 or 50 training videos plus the mouse. The he could have shorted it on the second day move up, but that still would have been hard for somebody to give him the stock after not having very much volume to let them short it. What was I saying? If you go to our products and services, there's about 40 or 50 training videos. Plus, you've got the 2-foot by 3-foot poster of all the 12 major signals. You've got the mouse pad with the signals. I use it every day, and I just enjoy it so much. Then you have the flashcards. Thinking what else we had. That those are the high-tech stuff. Yeah, that's right. If you can't be a professor. So a lot of people say, well, how come you're teaching? And I got in it asked backwards. I was trading, and I had a lot of people say, well, how did you start trading so well? And I showed them candlesticks, and so we set up the website, and it wasn't supposed to. So right now, the other side of that coin is, if you want to do something well, teach it. And every time I teach different concepts, kind of reminds me of using the patterns, using the information that sometimes I forget about. SEMP, you can be buying this one on the J-hook pattern. Just watch what it does at the at the 200. We had a $3 million inheritance. Oh, that's the old saying is, how do you make a small fortune trading options? Start with a big fortune. Buffalo wings. Did I do that backwards? I did. BWLD. You can buy this one. Now that it's gotten back up through the T-line, usually you want to watch the T-line and see if it's going to act as resistance. And knowing that coming through with a strong signal, like a doji sandwich, tells you there's more upside, we're right at the level that if they start trading positive from here, they're going to come up and fill this gap. So you at least have a positive move from there. Would you put a buy stop on CANF? Yeah, if I wasn't sitting here watching it. Tomorrow I'll watch it, and if they start trading positive, I'll look at my 10-minute chart and I'll probably buy off of that. If you enter a position and it initially has a nice move, but then just tends to linger and not go anywhere, how long would you tend to hold it? If it's then finishing up the end of the day with that strong signal, that means there's nobody selling after that strong move. I still stay with it. Now, if all of a sudden it comes back down to the lower end of the trading range, and they did start selling it, yeah, I close it out and then see about coming back in on positive trading the next day. FAS is a option. Oops, what happened here? I just did something terribly wrong. Yes. There's just nothing here yet. I mean, if you're long, you stay long. If I was going to do any trades on it at this point, it'd have to come up through this high, telling me that this J-hook pattern is still in progress. Diane, that was exactly what I thought too. Is kind of the old soupy sales type scam, where it said, "Oh, help me And I guess if you put stuff out there, there are going to be people to help you. That was Soupy Sales, I think, got fired because on a TV program for the kids, one time he said, kids, go to your mom's purse and pull out $1 and send it to me at this address. And I think he got $10,000 in, but he got fired. He said it was all just a joke. But anyways. Okay, I guess we got most of it. All right. Oh, was only suspended? Okay. Obviously, that was way before my time. You don't think he got fired? Okay. Yeah, I knew at least he got his wrist slapped. Okay, everybody, we need to see this market stay up above the T line. Strength from here would still confirm this J-hook pattern. Weakness from here would tell us that they might be drifting back sideways. So with that, everybody have a good evening. We will see you bright and early in the morning.